Well, here I am again with a beanie on. Now, if you've been watching this channel for some time, you'll know why I have a beanie on. It's always a very particular reason. If you know the reason, put it down in the comments. This is me pretending like it's that important, but it's really not. Future Justin, can you cut all that out, please?
Sure.
You will?
Of course I will.
Thank you.
Never gets old.
We're talking about juniper berry today. I'm trying to educate you guys. So yes, we are talking about fresh fragrances that every guy should have. And this is a very particular type of fresh fragrance. So what is juniper berry? Let's talk about it. It's a berry. Juniper berry is what is used to flavor gin. Quite simply, juniper berry does have a gin-like freshness to it. But it is more than that. It does come from the juniper plant. And the scent of the berry is known to be very aromatic with some piney nuances to it. So maybe even a little bit green. It's also very cooling, very sharp, and like I said, gin-like. And that's really it. So I have 9 fragrances here to talk about. Each one of them features juniper berry in a particular way. We've split it up into our 3 categories of accessibility, as we always do. We have the starting, so those just starting out, you didn't know what a juniper berry was before today. We have the intrigued. You knew what a juniper berry was before today. Maybe you found out yesterday. Congratulations. But you are interested in figuring out what it is about juniper berry that you might like, because it is a note that is featured quite often, but it's not one that everyone likes. It can be a little bit polarizing. And finally, we have enthusiast. You know what juniper berry is. Maybe you learned about it last year. I'm so dumb. Now, in general, juniper berry is not the most challenging note, but again, it's not going to appeal to everyone. So those in this level 3 tier, these are mostly going to appeal to you because you smelled a lot of fragrances. So let's dive right into it. We have 2 honorable mentions and we're going to get them out of the way briefly. First one is coming from bond number 9. This one has a little bit of a caveat because it will be featured in an upcoming video where I essentially tell you to not buy it. This is called Scent of Peace for him. I reserve the honorable mentions generally for the ones that are obvious. The obvious picks, fragrances that you've seen a lot, fragrances that you might even expect to see in a video like this. I'm going to save my deeper explanation of it for the later video that comes out. This does feature prominent juniper berry, that sharp cooling freshness, a little bit piney, maybe even in a way, but it's alongside a lot of pineapple, citrus, and many other things. So yeah, that's that. And our second honorable mention is from Rochas Parfum, one of the most popular fragrances from the brand today. This is Elysium Parfum Cologne. And yeah, lots of juniper berry, cooling, fresh, sharp, but mixed with a lot of citruses, mixed with spices, mixed with woods. Ultimately smells like kind of a niche, high quality, freshy that's a little bit on the blue side. Easy to wear, but does smell a little bit more posh. Good stuff. All right, let's get into our starting category. First one up here is from the house of, if I remember the pronunciation that people have corrected me on, Lolita Lempicka.
Nice try, Justin. They've actually corrected me again, and it's Lempicka.
I don't know if I said that right. This is called Green Lover. This is gin juniper berry. It technically features both, if I'm not mistaken. What this ultimately smells like, yes, it is kind of cooling and sharp and fresh, a little bit of a gin-like quality, but there's also a sweet, creamy vanilla orange. So I get orange creamsicle, summertime vibes, very fun, very playful, but not super juvenile. And also a little bit unique, might resemble something like Ultra Zest from Mugler, which is now discontinued, maybe even Ultra Red, which I think was from Paco Rabanne, if I'm not mistaken. In that vein, but maybe even more wearable than those. Good stuff, and also very inexpensive. Check it out. Next fragrance is also a very inexpensive fragrance. I'm going to spray it in the air. Great atomizer. It's great. It's really great for an easy reach fragrance that's meant to be kind of a signature if you're looking for one. This is from Rochas. Oh, it smells so good. Wow, really, really nice. This is called L'Homme Rochas. Blue bottle, but doesn't really smell blue, I would say. Lots of blood orange, maybe some pineapple, and definitely juniper berry. Sharp, cooling, fresh, almost makes your nose tickle. It might even make some of you guys sneeze. So I apologize. If you sneezed during this video, it was my fault. But it's wonderful. The freshness in here is very uplifting. Not super citrusy. Blood orange is there for sure, but that's not the freshest citrus in my experience. It's very juicy and almost a little bit dark in a way, but juniper berry livens it up here. This fragrance does actually dry down to an interesting base. It's kind of warm, sweet, almost ambery in a way. So quite a bit of depth to an otherwise very, very fresh fragrance. Easy to wear, good quality for what you get. I got mine for like 17 bucks a couple years back. I think it goes for a little bit more now, but still not very much at all. Do check this one out if you haven't already. And our final fragrance in the starting category. This is one of the highest quality fragrances on this lineup. And the reason why it's here is because it's super easy to wear. I don't know anyone who could dislike this fragrance, even though it does have a lot of juniper berry. I know I said all that stuff at the beginning. It's
polarizing.
Yes, it is. If you find someone who doesn't like this fragrance, tell them they're wrong. Save them from living a lie, please. This is called Luminist from Frapin. This is beautiful in the summertime. This is an amazing citrusy juniper berry gin fragrance that smells incredible under the sunshine. It is so bright. It is so uplifting. And again, I don't know anyone who could dislike it. The only thing I could see people disliking about it is that it doesn't project like crazy. It sits very close to the skin after the first hour or two. Strangely enough for me, it stays on my skin for almost like 8 hours after that, but it's super close. So those of you guys who are performance junkies, you might be disappointed by this in that regard, at least if you're worried about other people smelling you. But if you want to smell yourself, you probably still will smell yourself. But if other people can't smell you, then they can't give you a compliment. Then how do you sleep at night? What are you going to do? No, I'm serious. I mean, I don't know. I don't have any advice. I want to know if you had advice for me. How do I sleep at night? What do I do? I'm going to give this a spray because this, again, so uplifting, so natural smelling. Sidonie Lancesser is the perfumer. One of my favorite perfumers, has done a ton of work for Kilian. So most fragrances you smell from Kilian may have been perfumed by her, and she did fantastic work with this one. Do check it out. Get a sample. A little expensive for a blind buy, so get you a decant first. I will link to what I can find down below. All right, let's move into the intrigued tier. Those of you who are looking for a little bit more of something, I don't know, but hopefully you'll find it here. Our first fragrance up is from Creed, and it's original Santal. Not necessarily known for its juniper berry note, but definitely has an undeniable juniper berry presence. In addition to lavender, in addition to kind of a raspberry-like fruity sweetness, maybe some vanilla as it dries down, and obviously sandalwood as per the name, bringing this dusty but smooth, creamy woodiness that envelops the scent. But juniper berry, in addition to that lavender, is really what's bringing that fresh, clean quality. This is almost like clean laundry in a way, but sweetened up a bit and given a nice kind of creamy depth to it, and really, really handsome smelling. It's just a pleasant scent. It's very versatile. You can wear it anytime, almost all year round. Maybe not my first pick for the high heat, but you could probably get away with it because yes, it is a little sweet, but it is also quite fresh. So it's been around a while, but people aren't really talking about it that much anymore. That's why it's not an honorable mention. It is here in the actual list. And I do love this stuff. I happen to have a vintage bottle, I think from 2011. Get a sample if you haven't tried it. I would be surprised if you haven't, but if you haven't, do it. Links down below. Up next is a clone. We love clones here. You know that. From Parfums Vintage. This is called Emperor Eau de Parfum. The reason why this is in the intrigue tier is because of the way it's constructed. Yes, it is an Aventus clone, and they have claimed that. And I appreciate that when clones outright say, yes, this is what we're going for, instead of trying to mask it under some name and saying,
yes, we had this idea.
No, come on, y'all. Be real. So yes, this is kind of a fruity batch of Aventus. Fruity, vanilla, lots of juniper berry in here, which Aventus isn't really known for, but it's in here. It brings that nice sharp freshness to it, giving that pineapple some pop and some bite. And this has some pretty amped up musks. Parfums Vintage uses these musk notes that are very intense. They're not everyone's cup of tea, so that's why this is in the intrigued tier. Not everyone's gonna love the musky quality that this has. I happen to really enjoy it. To some people, it smells a little stinky, a little funky. especially if you get a new bottle and you don't let it macerate for, a few weeks. So if you do happen to get a new bottle of this, let it sit. It will take some time to really just settle and become what it is meant to be. But even then, you might not love it. But if you like Aventus, you'll probably enjoy this. And to this day, this is still my favorite Aventus clone I've ever smelled. And it's gotten me way more compliments than Aventus, if that counts for anything. Parfums Vintage Emperor. This is the Eau de Parfum, by the way. I don't have the extrait, so don't ask. I'm just kidding. You can ask, but I don't have it. Finally, up in the Intrigue tier is one of my favorite fragrances in my collection, period. And one of the best juniper berry fragrances on the market. Easy to wear, super versatile, perfectly unisex, can be worn all year round, any occasion, great performance, simple but still unique. Everything is here. All the boxes are checked, but it still might not be loved by everyone because the juniper berry is pretty up front here. This is Gentle Fluidity Silver from MFK. Nothing new here on the channel. I know I've turned a few of you guys onto this one. I love this fragrance. Juniper berry is front and center, sharp, cooling, fresh, blended with some spicy coriander, blended with a little bit of vanilla, kind of creamy, sweet, and amber, so there's a warmth to it, and also some musk. And that's mostly what you get, but the way it comes together is this beautiful accord. You don't really get everything all separated. I definitely get the freshness of the juniper berry, and it is closet beast mode. You would not think this fragrance is as strong as it is when you first spray it, but it will last, it will project, it leaves that beautiful trail, and it's almost fresh the entire time it's on your skin. Lovely freaking fragrance. I can't get enough of it even to this day. Gentle Fluidity Silver from Maison Francis Kirkjohn. Get you a sample down below. And we're into our final tier, the enthusiast tier. You're ready for anything. First one up here is from Argos. This is Brivido della Caccia, Italian for roughly thrill of the chase, if I'm not mistaken. Not for everyone here, but I think this is an incredible scent and blend. Very intense juniper berry with mate. This green, intense mate tea vibe. Very herbal, but still quite fresh, but it's made robust by way of some smoky birchwood and leather. So you gotta like a smoky woody note, and you have to like the leather. It's not terribly animalic here, but it is a little bit edgy, but there's a touch of a sweetness in here, almost like a tonka bean, vanilla-like sweetness that you kind of get the whole time you smell it, but especially as it dries down, it comes out more. It brings an almost sexy quality to it, an unusual compliment getter, you wouldn't think. But wear it because you love it first and foremost. So do try it down below, get you a sample set. Our final designer fragrance on this list is in the enthusiast category because it's pretty heavy on the juniper berry. And again, not everyone's gonna love that. In this fragrance, it almost comes off a little bit metallic smelling with how it's blended. But what it does the most is it brings this unparalleled cold, cooling freshness. I can't believe how fresh they made this fragrance. It blows my mind. It literally cools the air temperature when you spray it. From Hermes, one of their newest releases. I think it's one of the best new modern designer releases to come out in the past few years. This is Terre d'Hermes Eau Givrée. Frosted water, frozen water, something like that is what it translates to. Takes the original DNA. You do get a bit of that vetiver, woody, slightly bitter, but it is, again, intensely freshened by the juniper berry, by some dry citron, which is an almost lemony like citrusy note that's mouth-watering. It wears a little classy, but it can also be very, very casual. It's amazing under the sun. In the heat, this stuff comes to life, and it's what you need to cool you down. So I can't recommend this one enough. Do sample this if you can. If they have it in your local department store, give it a spray on your hand, see how it does as you walk around. That is Terre d'Hermes Eau Givrée. And the final fragrance. This is kind of a forgotten fragrance from Creed. No one really talks about this anymore. I understand why. It does smell a little bit dated, and that's why it's here on the enthusiast category. This is going to smell a little bit mature to some guys. There's a vintage quality to it, but it comes off as very classy. This came out in the 1990s, and it kind of smells like it with hints of the 80s behind it. This is Royal Water. Let me know if you guys have tried this one. Again, no one's really talking about it. I used to talk about it more. I don't wear it all that much anymore, but I just started smelling it again recently as we're moving into spring, and I forgot how much I really enjoy this stuff. Doesn't really smell watery. It's more herbal, green herbal fresh. There's some citruses, there's some basil or basil, as you guys say in the UK, and there's also a lot of juniper berry here, and it dries down to kind of a soft, musky woodiness. I think it's ambergris in here, giving it that musky quality that kind of envelops the fragrance. It's a very iconic, definitive profile with how it blends with the freshness here. Simple and unique in its own way, very classy for a fresh fragrance. If you're looking for a fresh scent to wear more dressed up, this is one to consider, but sample it first. Again, you might not love it. That is Royal Water. Well, that's it. Bye. If you liked the video, please like the video. Let me know if you've tried these fragrances down in the comments. They will be down in the description if you want to click links. If you like clicking links, there's links down there. Click away. Thank you so much for tuning in. Peace. I'll see you in the next one.